Welcome to this episode of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. I'm Trey Rhodes, the Connections Pastor at Northwood Baptist Church here in North Charleston, South Carolina. In just a few moments, our lead pastor, Dr. Tommy Metter, will be joining the conversation as well. In our crazy and chaotic world, our hope is that these few minutes will help you stop and reflect on your relationship with Jesus as you learn to connect Christ-centered faith to your everyday life. And we have bypassed episode 290, and yes, you are listening to episode 291. So welcome to the podcast, and appreciate your faithfulness and your getting the word out to everyone. And again, as I say, I rarely go through a week where somebody doesn't say, hey, listen, I'd really like to listen. How do I get there? And if you need to tell them, just say Connecting Faith to Life. And it will get whatever podcast system you use, it will get you there, okay? So get the word out on social media, word to word, small group, however you do it, and we will appreciate you getting that. And also, as Pastor Tommy always says at the end, make sure that you check that box and let them know that this is the greatest podcast in the world. Give us 5 stars and all those things, and it helps us get the word out as well.
I don't think you check a box, Pops.
You know, well, I've seen something where you check a box. Something.
Okay.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
It depends.
I guess it depends.
It depends on which one you use.
What platform you use.
Yeah. Anyway, episode 291, and it is looking forward to what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, So, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Trey. Do you worry a lot?
I am not a worrier.
You're not a worrier. Is your wife a worrier?
No, neither of her mother was horrendous.
Yeah.
Though. Her mother was just over the top.
Is there anything you worry about?
I guess the worst thing is this ticker. You know, making sure.
Well, that's right.
I'll feel a twinge there, and I'll go, oh no, what's happening? And you know, I always tell Kelly if I feel something weird.
You did almost die because of that, so I guess that's something to be concerned about.
Yeah, but it's not a worry. I don't wake up in the morning and say I hope I don't die today. So
that's good.
You know, I mean, you know, of course we can always die, but you know, I'm in the Lord's hands.
Every now and then, when you have a little pain in the chest, you think, here we go.
But I know a lot of people that are worriers. Actually, Anna and I were just talking about this new app it's not a new app, but be new to me. It's called Life 360. And if you are a worrywart, oh my heavens, this is your dream. It tells you where your husband is, how fast he's driving, how long it's going to take him to get home. It's going to take and her mother, she does the same thing with. So anyway, and I said, boy, that is for you. I'm glad. She says, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that. Now, our kids aren't driving yet.
Yeah.
And so we always know where they are at all times anyway right now. I'm sure that once Luke gets to driving, which will be next year. That's crazy to believe. He'll be 15 next year, and he'll have to take
I'm not saying it for Luke. I just remember the days.
Well, yeah, say it for Luke, say it for me. We're not. I'm more worried about the insurance than the driving.
You should.
Man,
and you should.
I am not ready to pay whatever it's going to cost.
That is when I told them go get a job at Chick-fil-A.
Right.
Because I cannot pay. I paid some of it. I mean, I just couldn't pay the whole thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it is. I don't even want to know. So if you know which insurance is for a young driver, please don't tell me. I don't want to find out right now. Let me enjoy my
ignorance is bliss.
Let me enjoy my bliss for another year or so, and then we'll figure it out. But we don't have the Life 360. We just use our iPhones, right? You can track.
You can do that
track
too.
My wife, and all that kind of stuff. And
we do that too.
Yeah. So that is helpful. Hudson's got a little watch you can track him on.
Oh, that's neat.
So Luke doesn't want the watch because he's too cool for the watch. He wants a phone, which he's about that age. Then we'll have to eventually give him a phone. But we've tried to hold off as long as we can. He's 14. I told him when he goes to high school, we'll talk about a phone.
There you go.
So
that's probably good.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
and then he'll have to give it up when he walks. And in the state of South Carolina, you can say no phones. You know?
Yeah, I'm glad because of that. He goes to a school that does not allow phones during the day, and now I think that's all schools. They made that. Didn't they make that like some kind of?
Yeah, state of South Carolina said no schools but I mean private schools can do what they want.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying in public school system,
I'm very thankful that that's becoming the case because those phones are a big deal, and I think they disrupt learning a little bit. So I'm glad that
they do. My wife can attest.
Yeah. Any rate. So I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but we're
talking about phones. Keeping up with people.
Worrying. Yeah, keeping up with people, and you don't. Yeah, when you can keep track of every place someone is, you don't have to worry as much about them, and I guess that's a good thing.
I do have one thing I worry about. Where did I put my phone?
Yeah.
I hope I didn't lose my phone.
I had the little tile things. So you can get Apple tags too. That I put in my wallet or my keys. So that and
yeah, but if you don't have your phone, I guess it works with your Apple computer.
If you have
now.
you have your Apple Watch, you can ding your phone.
Yeah, I yell real loud. Say,
Does that help you find
Siri,
it?
where are you? It says, I'm over here. It does.
No, I've not tried that feature.
Yeah, it works.
I'll have to yell for Siri. So actually,
Your Siri doing it
Siri's
right
seeing
now.
you right now. Okay, well, any rate.
I found this on the web for Do It Right Now.
Well, there you go. Siri, you're not on the podcast. You're not a guest today.
Man.
I ask if you worry because we live in a culture where lots of people struggle with worry.
Yes, it's true.
Over all kinds of stuff, whether it's finances or whether it's where your spouse is or whatever, where to put my keys, where how life is going to turn out. We're the kind of people that tend to worry about lots of things, and I'm kind of like you, Trey. I don't really worry about a lot of stuff. Just never have been a big worrier. I mean, I take life seriously, I think, and I think through things, and I get concerned about issues, I guess. But like just staying up at night worrying about whatever, I've never missed a night's sleep because I was worrying. That's just not who I am. I don't tend to worry a lot, but there is something I do maybe worry about, and I worry about my kids.
Yeah.
Now your kids are out of the house and living great adult lives,
But you never get away from it, brother.
No,
I mean, even as they're adults, you're
Yeah.
still concerned for them. You
yeah,
really
that's
are.
what I tell young couples as they're getting married, that enjoy those first couple years of marriage before you have children. Because
you would
once
be right.
Yeah, because once you have children, doesn't matter how old the kids are, you're always going to be a parent.
That's right.
I mean, so like I do, and I know you do too, Trey, because you do have great kids, but you're still concerned about them and worried about them. And I would say, like, I mean, not a sinful worry. I don't think I have, but I do. Like, I think about my career. Now, I take my career seriously, but I don't worry about my career in the same way that I worry about my kids.
Right.
Right.
It's different. It's a different thing. Here's the deal. I can get a new career.
Yeah.
I can't get new kids.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah, that's it, right? Like, so, and there's this genuine concern I have for my kids and for their well-being and for their development. Like, I think about that. That probably consumes my kids, and their well-being and their growth probably consumes my thoughts more than anything else.
I agree.
And if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're a parent trying to raise kids in the current world that we live, you really know what I'm talking about. And if you're like me and you've got some teenagers in the house, you really know what I'm talking about. Parenting is challenging. And we've talked about parenting on the podcast before, but I want to talk about just this idea of what do you do? Like, how do you respond when you worry over your children? Because I think it's natural. I think as parents, we all do it. And I don't want to worry in a sinful way. I want to be concerned. I want to, let that concern drive me to parent well. But I don't want to worry. Like, I mean, worrying, it can be sinful. If you're so consumed by something that takes your focus off of the Lord and your trust in the Lord, that can be very sinful. Jesus talks about that. Don't worry, right? In Matthew chapter 6. Don't worry, right? Trust the Lord that He's able to provide for you and take care of you. Look at the lilies of the field.
Right.
So Jesus teaches us not to worry, but it does seem to me that when it comes to my kids, I have a tendency to worry.
And that leads us to the first way to respond, and you just said it. Trust the Lord.
Yeah. So Proverbs 3, 5 through 6, that famous passage about trusting the Lord. Trust the Lord with all your hearts and all your ways acknowledge Him. Right. And He will make your paths straight. So trust the Lord in every area. I think we tend to trust the Lord in some areas, but maybe not all areas. And if you're a parent, like, this is an area that you really need to trust the Lord with your children. You're probably like me, Trey. The kind of parent I want to be, and this is not right, but the kind of parent I want to be is the kind of parent that plans out all the details of my kids' lives. Like, I would like to pick.
I am not that way.
Well, I'm just saying, I wouldn't mind picking who their spouse would be in the future.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind picking their career for them. I wouldn't mind picking their, where they're going to live. Like, I wouldn't mind controlling the details of their lives, right?
You just grew up 100 years late because you used to be able to do that.
I guess I'm in the wrong century. But you know what I'm saying? I think for most of us as parents, like, we would not mind mapping out the course for our children. Like, this is the path we want them on. I want my kid to be a doctor or a lawyer, or I want my kid to marry this kind of person. And what I'm learning about parenting, and probably what most of you have learned as well, I ain't got much control.
That's true.
And
You're absolutely
here's
true.
what I know too. Like, I would love for Luke and for Hudson to follow in Daddy's footsteps and be pastors or whatever, or serve the Lord in some kind of vocational way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that'd be great, but it's not my call.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I would love for them to live in a certain place. It's not my call either. And so trusting the Lord, that the Lord loves my kids even more than I do. And the Lord not only loves my kids even more than I do, but he actually has a better plan for them than I do.
That's right.
And trusting God in that, and that in God's time and God's way, God is going to direct their hearts toward that plan that he has for them, and he's going to lead them to walk in that plan. And so for me, that's just been, something to kind of think through, right? Like, and when it comes to parenting, I really need to trust the Lord. That I it's good for me to disciple my kids, and I obviously I need to do that. And it's good for me to have desires for my kids. But at the end of the day, they belong to the Lord. I'm just stewarding this season with them to disciple them, to point them to the Lord. But ultimately, it's the Lord's will that needs to be accomplished in their lives, and not my will. And so I think, if I can keep that perspective, that helps me not to worry so much, that God really does have a plan for them. And it might not be the same as my plan. He might have a completely different plan for them than I do. And that's great, because what the Lord wants for them is far more important than what I want for them. And so trusting the Lord with that is really, really important.
Yeah, we found that we kind of released them in the Lord's hands, and our goal was we wanted to raise godly kids.
Yeah.
And whatever that meant, and Ivy, for instance, is an incredible artist.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean, he might have done graphic design and things like that.
Right.
But what I am saying is that when he was called to the ministry at the age of 14, I was shocked. I mean, I just was. After all that we had been through and all that we were going through, and I'm thinking, he says that now, but he will never finish this out, because it's just too tough. It's just too tough. So anyway, leave it in the Lord's hands is just so important, because you don't know what the Lord has in store for every single one of your kids, and I can say with all honesty that there is no safer place than in the Lord's hands.
That's right.
All right, number 2, fight the temptation to control every detail, which is
what I just said, right? Like, that's kind of in us as parents. Like, we want to control every detail of their lives. And you've heard about this, right? You've heard the phrase before, helicopter parenting, where you just kind of hover over your kids and making sure they're at the right place at the right time, doing all the right things, and letting go of some of that control.
Right.
Is really, really important, right? Like, and not worrying about, some of the decisions they make. So what are the big things as parents that I need to be concerned about, and what are those things that I need to let them grow in without me hovering over them, right? So, like, for a practical example, when I was in school, I was pretty much an all-A student, right? And so, my mom and dad really pushed academics hard, and my mom and my dad really stayed on me about academics. And I appreciate that. Right. I did pretty well in school. Went to college, went to graduate school. I mean, went all the way through. Can't go to any more school, right? So I really appreciate that they really pushed academics in my home. And so I'm that way with my boys. I want to push academics as well. And there's nothing wrong with me wanting to desire for them to have a good education and to get their homework done and make good grades. But at the same time, like, I've had to learn over the last few years that I'm not responsible for their grades. They are.
That's true.
And they need to learn how to take responsibility for themselves about their grades. And so I don't check up on their grades as near as much as I used to. Now, if you have kids, now with technology, you can check their grades daily. We have some kind of portal we can log into, and I can see what Luke or Hudson made on all their quizzes and all that kind of stuff. And I did that. And if I saw a bad grade, point it out. That's not, now I try to be very hands-off with their grades, that they know the expectation. They know that if they bring home a certain grade, then they don't play baseball. So if you want to play baseball, if you want to be in sports, like, here's the standard. Here's what we shoot for. So it's on you. You know what the standard is. You know what to shoot for. And if you miss it, like, there's just no baseball. And so that's helped me to. Now, I'm still concerned about their grades, obviously. but I'm not hovering over them every day. Like, what is the assignment? What's your homework? I mean, it's your responsibility. You got to figure this thing out. If you want to have the privilege of doing this thing, playing baseball, which you're both passionate about, then you've got to prove that you can do it in the classroom so that you can have that extracurricular activity. And so for me, like that was a letting go of something, letting go of that control in that area, and letting them learn how to take responsibility for themselves. I think what can happen as a parent is that when we try to control every detail of their lives, right, because we want or will accomplish for their lives, then it does lead to us hovering over them and not letting them grow in areas where they need to take some responsibility for themselves. So that's been a big thing for me, is just learning how to let go of that control and giving them the freedom and giving a little longer leash. Right?
Do you find that it causes more worry or less worry? In other words, if you're not checking, do you feel like, well, I'm worrying because I'm not checking, or does the checking cause more worry?
Yeah, I think I'm good with it now.
Okay.
I think it's
Initially,
a process,
it was
it's
an
transition,
issue. Yeah.
right? But listen, at the end of the day, it's not on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like those are
Not on me. I think
especially with my oldest son. Like he's 14, so he's becoming an adult. Like, you've got to learn how to be an adult, and being an adult doesn't always mean you have somebody watching over you, making sure you get everything done.
As a matter of fact, it's the exact opposite.
Exactly. So you got to figure this thing out. So again, like, and in the real world, if you don't do your stuff, there's going to be a consequence. That's just the way life works. If you don't get your job done on the job, you're not going to get a paycheck, or you're going to get fired, or whatever the case may be. And so let's start learning that now. And so this is your responsibility. Here's the consequence. And when this happens, the consequence, it will be delivered, and you're not going to like it. So I suggest, now, thankfully for us, both of our boys are really good students, and they keep their grades up pretty well. So we haven't had to cross that bridge yet. But if we have to cross it, like, it's going to be a bad day. Yeah. You know, so, but that's all I'm saying. Like, there's this temptation that we have to control every detail of our children's lives, whether it's grades or what they wear, or, you know, who their friends are. That's a big one. Right. And that's probably actually been harder for me than the grades is being a little more hands off with their choices of friends. Right now, I still want to step in and give guidance and wisdom, but but we like to control those things, and I wonder sometimes when we take too much control, how that might negatively affect their development as the men and women God is molding them to be. So yeah.
All right, and number 3, let the book of Proverbs be a source of parenting wisdom.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, Trey, but we went through the book of Proverbs together as a church about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I don't remember when it was.
You don't know if I was with. What did you say?
I don't know if you remember.
I do remember.
We went through Proverbs.
And I was here.
Yeah, you were here. You were here every Sunday.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. But Proverbs is just so helpful because it's a father giving wisdom to his sons.
Right.
And so I've got to step back and see my role, especially as my kids get older. I still want to be, firm. I still want to be a good disciplinarian that disciplines my kids in the ways that I need to, but I also want to impart on them a lot of wisdom, right? And so letting something like the book of Proverbs and the model that I can learn from Solomon of, just giving those short sayings to my kids, right? Like, I don't have to lecture them all the time. In fact, when I do lecture them, it usually doesn't go well. And listen, I'm a public speaker. That's my career. You know what I'm saying? Like, I preach for a living.
Right.
I like to preach.
And you like to influence people.
And I like to influence people.
Yeah.
I love both those things. I like to talk, and I like to influence.
Yeah.
And so, like, my boys, you're in my house, you're a captive audience. And so I have no problem going on and on and on and on and on about something. That is not an issue for me. But that might not be what they need, the lectures and me preaching at them. And so I've tried to learn, and I'm not the best at it. I'm trying to get better at it. Is I need to be more proverbial in the way that, in the sense of proverbial, like the Proverbs, in the way that I deliver, my communication to them.
So you're talking short, pithy statements?
Yeah, I just say, hey, look, it's wise to do this because.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Like, he doesn't need a lecture. He just needs the moment of wisdom. Hudson needs the moment of wisdom more than they need the 15-minute lecture, because they ain't listening to my 15-minute lectures. I found that out.
And so seriously, I'm asking this seriously. So we're not even talking about the proverb especially. No. You don't have to say in Proverbs 14:12.
Now, sometimes I'll do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But sometimes you're just giving them a proverb.
But sometimes I'm giving them wisdom, right, that God has given to me. Here's how you do it, and I keep it short and sweet.
Yeah. Do they like that? Don't like it, or you don't care?
Well, I think they would like that better, or they like that better than me lecturing them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yes, I can still get in my lecture mode. Like I can still revert back to that. That's very easy for me to revert to. But I'm really trying just to be more to the point in the way that I talk to my kids and give them what I know to be true, right? And then just kind of let them ask when they need to ask.
My daughter Addie always said, "Well, Mom and Dad are always right." In other words,
I wish my kids
when
said
we
that.
gave
They
them,
don't.
we gave well, this was later on in life. when we gave them wisdom or that kind of short, pithy statements, she knew it was right, and so doesn't mean she followed it always, just like we don't follow it always, but at least she knew that if this is what we need to do. That
and I think that's a good thing to remember, Trey. I think for most of our kids, when we give them godly wisdom. When I give them that statement that's based on Scripture and that I've seen lived out in my own life, and I tell them that, I don't think they disagree that it's right. I think they know deep in their hearts because my kids are followers of Jesus too.
Yes.
The Spirit of God lives in them and convicts them. They know it's right. They just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That becomes the issue. It's not a matter of I've got to convince them of what's right and wrong. It's a matter of rebellion. That they're just, and we do the same thing. That they're just those days that while rightness stares them in the face, they just don't want to do it. But you and I do the same thing. And so
we do.
again, I want to be like Solomon in the way that I parent my kids. I want to give them wisdom, but make it to the point.
I have never thought of it in that way, and I appreciate that. That's really good. But we did the same thing. I just never thought of it putting in that context. Number 4, model faith and not fear.
Okay, this is a big one. Now, here's what I mean by that. I think some of us, and myself included, can be guilty of, because we worry so much about our kids, we can be guilty of teaching our children to fear the world instead of walking by faith in the world. Right? Like, you need to fear this and need to fear that, and don't go this place at this time of day, and which is, I get it. That's practical wisdom. I understand. Don't do this, don't do that, and this person over here is bad, this group of people is bad, and if you do this is going to mess up your life in this way. And what we end up doing is we end up instilling a lot of fear into our children because we're fearful. We're so afraid that they might make the wrong choice and end up in jail or end up on drugs or something crazy, right? That we do all that we can to instill fear. Now, we want to instill godly fear. I want my kids to fear the Lord.
Of course.
And I want them to fear the Lord in such a way, right, that they honor the Lord and respect the Lord and what the Lord desires for them, and that they live their lives. Proverbs chapter 1, right, the beginning of wisdom is this fear of the Lord. Like, I want that for them, but I don't want to lay on them like, this fear, like, you've got to watch every little thing you do, because if you don't, your life is going to end up a disaster, right? Like, I want them to know how to live by faith in the world rather than just to fear the world. I want them to fear God, but not the world.
Yeah,
right?
there's this idea of stepping out in faith. Yeah. In other words, there is this that you can't sit there and wait till everything is how it has to be before you can move forward. And we can make our kids cower in fear to the situation or to a place or whatever it is. Kelly's mom and dad were fearful. Very fearful of downtown Charleston. Downtown Charleston. All right.
I don't blame them.
So I would. That was my thing. I love to go to downtown Charleston. So I had to kind of talk them into that. We're going downtown Charleston, and I'll protect your daughter. Well, how am I? I'm 19 years old. But anyway, but there is that thing, and so Kelly learned to like downtown Charleston as well. But the point is that they were very fearful of something I didn't think they had to be fearful of. So.
Yeah. And again, it's right to want to protect. Like, we're not saying that. It's right to want to give your kids wisdom and how to respond in situations.
Of course.
I just don't want my kids to fear life. I want them to fear God.
Yeah.
And I want them to live with wisdom, but I don't want to instill fear of life in them. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right, number 5, give lots of grace.
We talk about this all the time, right? Like, give yourself grace. I'm giving myself grace, because it is. Like, I'm trying to learn how to not worry so much about my kids and who they're going to become, what they're going to do, the choices they're making, and I revert to worry more often than I stay the course and trusting the Lord. I understand that. So give myself grace.
That's a big
you
number
think
one.
about parenting. God is using your parenting not only in the lives of your children, obviously, as you disciple them. God is using parenting in me to sanctify me.
Ooh, that's
right?
true.
Like, He's
true.
using
Wow.
these years I have with my kids to help me become a better man of God, right? To teach me about patience and wisdom and all those things. And so I need to give myself a lot of grace because I'm on the road, I'm on the journey, and I ain't got it figured out yet. And just being honest about that, like, I'm a work in progress in this, just like everybody else is, and give myself grace, and also give my kids grace, and being able to go back and say, okay, Daddy messed this up, and I wanted to be more trusting here, and I gave into fear here, or whatever the case may be. Like understanding their mess ups, and like the home just needs to be a place that's filled with grace, and oftentimes it's filled more with legalism, and rules and do's and don'ts, and all those things are. I mean, I get it that we need do's and don'ts, we need rules. Like, I'm not saying that, but I am saying like there needs to be a lot more grace.
Amen. We actually I had a discipline in my own life where I did not always discipline my children as they deserved.
Yeah.
Because that's how God looks at me.
Yeah,
God
yeah.
didn't discipline me as I deserved.
Yeah.
So there were times when I said, you deserve, and I would be very clear what they deserved, but Dad is going to give you grace.
Yeah. And that's right.
And that was a huge thing for them because they recognize, and I said, that's how God works with me, and I want to work it with you that way.
And the proverb that's just a reminder, it is to your glory to overlook an
there
offense.
You go. Yeah.
Right? Like, because if I spent my days giving consequences for everything my kids did, that would be all I would do.
Oh, boy.
Right? Because
yes.
my goodness, they do some dumb stuff. Well, I do dumb stuff too, right? Like, and so it's the whole mentality of pick your battles. What are some things I can overlook, right? Because I understand that they're growing and figuring life out. And then where are those areas where I just really need to step in and say, okay, enough's enough. We cannot do this. And because you are doing this, here's the consequence. And so just kind of figuring that out. And that takes a lot of grace, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Number 6, look to the future with hope.
Okay. The principle in Proverbs is train up a child in the way that he would go. When he gets old, he will not depart.
That's the principle.
That's the principle. And that principle is generally true.
Generally.
And that's good news.
But there are times.
There are exceptions.
Yeah.
There are for sure. But that principle is generally true. That's why the Word of God gives it to us. And so here's why I know. Because I bet you there are a lot of you listening that if you're a parent and you're going through the teenage years, it's difficult. Or if you're past the teenage years, you look back on the teenage years, you think, man, that was difficult, right?
How did I get through that?
But that's the thing, Pops. You got through. You're way on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've got,
I do.
Grandchildren, great-great-great-grandchildren at this point. You've got generation.
Just grands at this point. Don't make my wife that old.
I know. But I'm saying, like, you got through and you're okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I know your kids were always pretty good kids, but they had their moments too.
Of course they did.
They had their seasons of rebellion, just like
of course.
And look where they are now. God's done a good work. All that to say, like, in 20-something years of pastoral ministry, here's what I've seen to be genuinely true. That those students and children who are brought up in the church, who have moms and dads that love Jesus, who are encouraged in their faith, they typically turn out all right. Now, they might stray for a while. I'm not saying they won't. Like,
it happens.
I've seen it.
It happens.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, I had my season in college where, I wasn't walking with the Lord in the way that I should have been. So,
As did I.
It happens. But, the Lord brought me back.
Amen.
And He does that in the lives of so many others as well. And so all that to say, because I have to remind myself of this when I'm in those moments where I'm wondering, okay, are they going to be okay? I have to look out to the future, and I have to look at the scriptural promise: train up a child in the way that he would go, and when he gets old, he will not depart. And typically speaking, that's the way it works. And so I can hold on to that hope that I've got them in the right environment. Right, they're in a Christian home where mom and dad loves them and nurturing them into the best of our ability to discipling them. I've got them in a great church. They might have their moments of boneheadedness, but more than likely they're gonna be all right.
Yes.
That when Luke is 35 and when Hudson is 30 something or whatever the case may be, more than likely they're gonna be walking with the Lord and doing just fine.
Amen. And number 7, surround yourself with the church community.
Yeah, just this it's important for you as a parent. It's important for you to be involved in life connection groups, discipleship groups, parenting workshops we may offer. Anything that's going to help you to stay sane as you raise your kids is a big deal. And you need, what I've found out over my years as a parent who is very involved in the local church, one, I need to hear the stories of other parents. Listen, it is good for me when I hear that somebody else is going through the same struggle as I am.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? When I hear, oh, my kid, he talks back sometimes too, or my kid, then I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one struggling with this thing.
Although you feel that way.
Because you do. You feel like, what's going on? What am I doing wrong?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
All
that's
those
a very real feeling.
right
That's
through
a
your
very
mind.
real feeling. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not the first one to struggle with that, and I'm not the only one. That there are a multitude of people in our congregation right now who have teenagers like I do who are struggling with the very same issues. And so that's good to know. Like, I'm not alone out there trying to figure this thing out. And so hearing, I know maybe that doesn't sound encouraging, but it is encouraging to me to hear that others struggle too, right? Because it helps me know, okay, we're not abnormal.
Right.
Right,
Exactly.
like this is part of being in a broken world. This stuff happens,
and then you're also going to pick their brains a little bit.
and that's
what's
right.
some things that help
so,
you.
So
and
that's
those
the
kind
flip
of
side
things.
of it.
Yeah.
It's good for me to hear that others struggle too, and it's also good for me to hear how God's given victory in different areas.
Amen.
Right. So I think about that parent who, okay, we went through a difficult season, but now we're on the other side of that, and here's what we learned. That's good for me, right? To hear, stories about your kids, because your kids are, you're through it. Your kids are walking with the Lord. Like, your stories are an encouragement to all of us, and so like that collective wisdom from the body of Christ, and also that collective walking through life together, is just really helpful.
Amen.
And I need it as a parent, and obviously my kids need it. We have tried very hard. Like, this is a big deal to me. It's a big deal to me that both of my boys have men in their lives that they can look up to.
Amen.
And
That's right.
I've been very intentional to make sure they have men that are investing in them besides me. Because what I realize, right now, Hudson's at a different age. He's 10. So he still, listens to daddy's voice pretty well.
Right.
And Luke does too. But just the fact of the matter with teenagers, what I'm learning is that teenagers, that's just part of the brain development and the quest to find their identity. I mean, it's just part of that whole deal. That teenagers, they really do listen to the voices of others, probably in these years a little bit more than they listen to my voice.
And you can say the same exact thing. But
Exactly.
hearing it from them makes the difference.
So I've been very intentional to make sure that my teenager has some men around him that are saying the same thing that I'm saying. I just want him to get it. I don't care if he gets it from me or somebody else. I just want him to get it.
And for you ladies, same way.
The same way. So
you want your girls to be under godly ladies that can help them.
So if you're a parent, I would strongly encourage you to build relationships with people who've gone before you. And so that's what we've done. Like, we have an older couple, older than us, that invest in my kids. Right? That's a big deal.
Amen.
So be intentional in finding someone.
Yes.
And then just asking them, hey, would you mind investing in my kid? Would you spend some time with them? That's been huge for us. Been huge. And we've also tried to find some people that are a little bit older to invest in them.
Right.
Like, for example, at our church, it's great because we have so many young adults
and we have
college students.
We have
godly ones.
And
so I've been very intentional in trying to find a couple of those younger guys that are in their 20s who are still really, really cool, you know what I'm saying, who have that cool factor, but walk with the Lord, right, so my boys can see, like, you can walk with Jesus and it's not a weird thing, right? Like it. So like that's been a big deal too. So my boys have people from different generations they're looking up to, and they also, we're doing things with other couples our age, right? They're seeing other families that are like our families. Like, all those multi-generational influences are hugely important in shaping the lives of your kids and students. And listen, if you're not involved in the church in that way, where your kids can be exposed to those multi-generational influences, I don't know how you're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard.
You are missing out.
You're missing out.
There's such great joy.
There's great joy, and it's helpful for me as a dad to say, okay, I know that this young man in his 20s is going to come spend time with my son on this night this week, and that's going to be so good because I know he's going to talk to him about life, and he's that takes a burden.
That's what I was going to say. It's not all up to you.
I'm sharing that burden, and that's
but it's
super
not all
helpful.
up to you. That's what I'm saying. It's not all up to you. If other people are pouring, Anyway.
So listen, if you have questions about, I would love to help you figure out how to do that for your family. I'm just telling you with my family, that has been a game changer for us, and it's been super helpful. And I'm very thankful that we have people in this faith family who have really invested in my boys, because it's made all the difference in the world for us. And that's available for you too. Let's help you figure that out.
Amen. Well, Pastor, thank you for this. This has been a good wake-up call to a lot of our people, from me, even me, just remembering our own grandchildren and where they're going and how to begin to make impact on their lives as well. So as we think about these things and get ready for next week, go ahead and close us out.
Well, I do hope this has been helpful for you. And if it has been helpful for you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can have new content delivered to your device every single week. Leave us a 5-star review because that really helps us to get word out about our podcast. And as always, we hope today's episode has helped you connect faith to life.